Once upon a time, before the universe began, and even before fairies existed, Norma was doing the dusting. She had planned on hoovering first, forgetting she lived in a world where there was no entropy and therefore no first, seconds or last. As she dusted, she sang a tune to try and distract herself from the fact that nobody loved her. The fact that nobody existed and therefore nobody could possibly love her did not occur to Norma. She was not the brightest spark, even taking into account the fact that there were no other sparks to compete with. Existence was Norma, and Norma was existence. Existence, of course, pre-universe, was not like we know it today. It did not wake up in the morning and start shining, nor brush its teeth, nor push its muzzle in its master's face. In fact, it did not wake up in the morning at all. There was no morning. There was just Norma doing the dusting. The dust, however, always rearranged itself in exactly the same pattern every time she lifted the duster from the mantelpiece. All the dusting served to do, of course, was to displace the dust for an absolutely insignificant amount of time, during which Norma would momentarily be contented. Happy, even. But then, of course, the clouds returned, the dust settled, and Norma was back to lamenting the fact that nobody loved her. It is important to mention that nobody could possibly have loved Norma, even if anybody had existed. And even if some person had inadvertently interrupted her dusting one day, she wouldn't have noticed them because she was absolutely and completely focused on the dust on the mantelpiece. Now, it's very difficult to love someone who is interested only in dust. Although it does help if they're good looking, of course, but unfortunately that didn't apply to Norma. She had few teeth. Her hair was matted as she never brushed or washed it. She had a face like a dried up prune, and she stank. It was lucky, in fact, that nobody did exist, because in the unlucky eventuality that they had, they would have been overwhelmed by the noxious fumes emanating from Norma. Norma was blissfully unaware of her BO in the same way that she was blissfully unaware of practically everything. Everything except dust. Dust fascinated Norma, in the same way that a mountain is a magnet to a climber. Her belief that she could get rid of it made her feel powerful, godlike even. As she dusted, she was at war with nature, and when the dust cleared momentarily, she had conquered it. It gave her a feeling of pride, and again helped her forget the fact that nobody loved her. She sang out loud, "Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow, till..." She stopped, mid-swing of the duster, her jaw dropping wide open in disbelief. The dust was not resettling on the mantelpiece as it always did. She glanced nervously around to see where it had gone, but there was no sign of it anywhere. The mantelpiece appeared to be dust-free, and more than an insignificant amount of time had passed, although who knows in what direction. Norma's duster hand stayed in mid-air, waiting for the comforting presence of dust, but it did not come. The happiness she was accustomed to enjoying in dust-free moments did not last, and she felt like a worm caught on a hot pavement in midsummer. Terror gripped her prune-like features, which began to distort and elongate until she looked more like E.T. than Norma. Her life flashed before her eyes, and although she was not religious, she threw herself on her knees and started praying fervently, but to no avail. Finally, she screamed out to God for mercy, but unfortunately, there was no God, and therefore no mercy. No one could comfort existence. No one could provide her with the dust she needed to function. She had become non-existence. There was nothing left but to self-harm, so she sank what was left of her yellow, decaying teeth into her leg and felt a moment of relief as she watched the blood ooze out and trickle down her ankle. She bit herself again, and a drop of blood plonked itself on the carpet. Bollocks, she thought. The hoover won't get that up. I'll have to get some vanished stain remover.